It's always nice to have your destiny in your own hands, and there's no better way to make sure that happens than having a strong start to stage 2. But here we go, Ben. Map number 1, Ardennes Forest Hardpoint, TK versus Splyce. We're about to get things going.
Yes, we most definitely are. And again, I think one of the key fights to look out for is basically what you kind of called out for. And I am excited. That kind of Kenny versus Jerd fight. Jerd's had a pretty good year individually. It's just been inconsistent for Splyce, that's for sure. And then, of course, TK, a couple of championships early on in the year, but yet to find their rhythm. Will the roster change for Enable coming through? Will that potentially be the catalyst to put them back on top? Yeah,
maybe. I mean, Enable's definitely a leader in his own right, and you have a lot of young players on this Team Kaliber lineup, and Enable is a guy that could really help these players out. But here we go, the action getting started. It's Splyce. They have control around the hardpoint, but nobody yet to step in, and that's thanks to Enable. He's able to find 2 kills on the players of TK, and now both teams still fighting for control over the field. It's Bance. He's got the STG in his hands, and he's able to find 2 kills in response to Enable.
Yeah, now all he has to do is just watch the cross of the hill, right? Preferably, if he could have stayed alive, that would have been a little bit better, but accuracy with some fantastic shots does clean up the kill. But you still have to worry, of course, about Mad Cat, who is in the hill, just accumulating all of the hill time right now for Splyce. Looks like one push is going to come in for TK. Meanwhile, Splyce, they're going to fight for mid-map control.
Okay, so Pharaoh's got the bar in his hands. That's something that's new on this TK lineup, and here we go. The new guy, Enable, trying to find some kills inside the hardpoint, but so far it's been lights out for Splyce, and they played that hardpoint perfectly, Benson. Throughout the entirety, they held the cab inside the map. They held wood, and TK just weren't able to cross in through the field, and they just weren't able to get any points on the board there.
And it's worth talking about that very, very first push that you saw from Splyce, a very, very aggressive push from Jerd. Doesn't go anywhere near the hill, it just pushes basically straight through the open, and no one from TK has eyes on him, and now as a result, you can see the damage done off the first hill, 42-5, the point lead, and TK looking to try and claw some points back. But it's going to be Enable and you. He falls, and I can hear the boys from Splyce getting loud, and this is where they get scary to me. I've watched these players for so many years, Revan, and I know when the energy gets going and the chemistry is definitely going to be there. This is what made me think this Splyce squad could honestly be a top 4 contender.
Oh, absolutely. You know, they're having a lot of feel-good moments right now, but here comes TK. They're starting to battle on back. They find 2, make it 3 kills, looking to now take control of the hardpoint, and take a look at the side of the map that TK are now fighting on, right? Towards that left-hand side. They want to hold that backside for this upcoming hardpoint. With 15 seconds now remaining over on Ruins, the upcoming hardpoint is going to be over near Bunker. TK, they have early control. They have the positioning they want, but now they need to pick up the kills in transition. And look, even though that Splyce are up 75-5 right now, if TK could lock down Bunker for the full 60, they are right back in this game. They had this up, they had the early positioning, now they just need to shoot their gun and kill people.
And it's worth mentioning, this is a money hill, right? It's very, very possible. What Revan said isn't an impossibility by any means, but the problem is you've got to win the gunfights. Kenny now going around the outside of Bunker, able to pick up a couple, but ultimately falls. You still have a bit of a contest coming through, and this is good for Splyce. Just buy some time. It's Jerd and Enable, the 2 players in the hill. Enable doesn't want to peek just yet. You can see maybe a bit of a pinch starting to develop. It's going to be Kenny trying to push all the way around the outside. This is going to put a lot of pressure on Splyce, basically forcing Splyce hand. They have to put more resources in towards the hill and win those gunfights, which ultimately they do, but TK still with a favorable spawn.
I mean, look, Kenny does his job there, right? He pushes out that mid-cut lane, and he forces Splyce to draw their attention over towards that side of the map. It's just inside the hardpoint. Nobody else from TK picks up kills. Josh winds up finding 3 kills. They take control of the hardpoint, and now Splyce are continuing to grow this lead. And take a look at the slang that we're seeing from TK right now. Nobody going positive. Enable at 7 and 7. He's the closest person to it. You need somebody to step up on the side of TK. You're looking at Kenny and Pharaoh for me.
And Josh was so unfortunate there. You saw him as soon as he got the call out that Enable was by window. He wanted to try and push that. He was about a kill and an assist away from streaks that really could have spiraled this game completely out of control. So a big win there for TK, just to make sure he doesn't pick up those streaks. But now as we head over to East Road, we know how contest heavy this hill can be, and already Jerd doing what Jerd does best, just running straight at TK, looking for some extra kills, pre-firing the corner, finds 1. That's a headshot. Not quite sure how that works, but hey, I'm sure Jerd will take it.
But look, because Jerd decides to push all the way around through Ruins and flank around, that forces some TK players to spawn out. So now they can fight through Ruins, and now they're pushing Splyce back. So this could be a good 25 seconds for TK to get. I mean, look, they could double up on their time if they lock down the remaining seconds here. But yeah, TK, they're down. They're facing a deficit, but the game is still early. They still have a lot of time. They just need to stabilize on the map and start getting somebody going. Somebody has to step up, go on a bit of a spree, and get some momentum in the side of TK.
I love your positivity. They could double down on their points. Well, yeah, that's definitely possible when all you have is 14.
There you go.
A double comes in from Kenny.
Perfect.
Can he find anything else? Of course, the hardpoint rotates. TK with early control of Cave, and you can see Splyce spawning so far out. More importantly, getting split spawns as well there. So if TK just won a couple of one-on-ones, they should be okay.
Yeah, you see Josh flanking around these 2 players' cabin. I have no idea that's going to happen. Fortunately, believe Pharaoh should be able to get the cleanup kill here onto Josh, but look at where the other members of TK spawn out. All the way near Bell. That's the furthest point away from the current hard point. And even though it was a perfect setup for TK going into the hard point, right? They had both sides of the hard point extended out. They had control of bunker. They had control of cabin, as well as players near the hard point. But once again, Splyce, they push in, they break, they get the spawns in their favor, and once again, they're starting to rebuild that 100-point lead.
It's just those key gunfights. That's basically what it comes down to, right? Winning those 1v1s. Well, for your TK, to your point, they had the perfect setup there, and somehow Splyce just kind of walked straight through it. And the final 15 seconds look good to go over towards Splyce. The challenge comes through. Pharaoh actually wins that. Not really going to be influential towards streaks, only his first kill. It's accuracy on a 3 streak right now that maybe could try and turn the tide.
Yeah, I saw Pharaoh in his last life. He got a kill with the PPSH. I hope he switched over to that weapon because he started out with a bar in his hands, right? So that meant that TK had 3 ARs on the mat, which meant that when Kenny was pushing out these lanes, he had nobody to play off of. He had nobody to follow up. And yeah, now he gets a kill with the SCG. I would love to know what Pharaoh's actually running right now. Okay, so he's got the PPSH. Maybe he just picked that up. I wanted to see him make the switch a little bit earlier in the game. Obviously, the TK faced a bit of a deficit, and now that he switches over to the SMG, now Kenny has somebody to play off of. They could start to ramp up the pace and push out these lanes so that you could have accuracy, so that you could have Enable set up with the assault rifle inside the hardpoint and soak up time.
I believe accuracy, he was 1 kill off streaks, not going to get them. The nades rain down from above. So TK's, I don't want to say their only hope of coming back, but what would have been definitely very beneficial. Not going to come in as Bance now fighting across for spawns. Finds one. Second player's going to be there. That's Enable. Bance plays his life. The bit of support should come through, but the problem is TK are going to have the spawns here for bunker once again. So almost deja vu from what we saw in the first rotation.
Yeah, they just need to find the kills here in transition, and there you go. 3-4 for Splyce, and TK, they've extended out through the hard point. You have accuracy set up over near front wood, and the remaining 3 members from Splyce are going to be fighting through the middle of the map. But Pharaoh's here. He's got fire cut locked down. Actually, does wind up falling. Pharaoh after that, but you still have Kenny inside the hard point. You have Enable here to back him up. The spawn's in favor of TK. This could be the hard point where they come right back into this game, Benson.
Yeah, that was a very long gunfight right there from Kenny, but ultimately he wins it. That's all that matters. And this is what's different than what we saw in the first rotation. In the first rotation, TK ripped the backside of bunker, so it was very easy for Splyce to contest. This time, however, they're keeping that pressure. Kenny is a prime example there, not allowing Splyce anywhere near. Plus, of course, accuracy doing such a good job pushing out, really taking the fight to Splyce. And, you know, we talked about Money Hill in the first rotation, but we didn't get to see it. All right, then, that just happened. Go for the triple. Why not? Closer streaks ultimately falls. But they get the Money Hill in the second rotation, and now all of a sudden, Revan, this is a lot closer than it was.
Ever since Pharaoh switched to that second sub, man, the added pressure that he brings to the table definitely makes Kenny feel a bit more comfortable around the map, and it allows them to play off of each other, just like I was saying. And now Pharaoh, he's starting to heat up, man. +5 on to 3 spree. Maybe he could start working over towards some streaks, but you saw the impact that this second sub had on that last bunker hardpoint. You know, you saw Kenny previously, he was able to push down the mid-cut. Pharaoh does the exact same thing, and now Splyce have to worry about the pressure coming in from all different angles.
Yeah, a couple of key kills are going to have to come through here for Splyce, just to slow down the momentum if nothing else, because you bring up a great point. You know, Pharaoh started off this game, I believe it was like -7, now currently +5, so really kind of turn things around a little bit, but, you know, it's East Road again. We expect it to be very contest heavy. The key here is going to be keeping that cabin control and making sure you have that good rotation over towards the first hill, but Enable. That may be a massive double kill in terms of the grand scheme of things. Bance is going to be left by himself, but Enable again keeping control of cabin side. A wonderful individual play right there from Enable.
And he's just going to stay alive. Well, never mind. He gets taken out by the grenade from Josh. And speaking of Josh, 21 and 32 right now. He's got 28 seconds inside the hill on a 2 spree. Definitely want to see him have a bigger impact on the game, but, you know, typically what we've seen is everybody from Splyce has really started to slow down as we start to enter, you know, the mid to late stage of the game. But here we go, a fresh rotation of hard points. Splyce, once again, they have a great setup going into this one. TK, number one thing you need to do is take down Mad Cat. He's set up over near wood behind that rock. If you can take him out, you can get cabin control. It allows you to fight for field and then into the hard point after that.
And that's one of those weird situations where, you know, if you're Bance, you really need to be challenging that. You have a teammate kind of watching that cabin cross there. Maybe just gives away about 5-6 seconds there of hill time that maybe he didn't necessarily need to. TK challenging. Kenny's going to juggle the hill. Leaves it, goes back into it, looking to earn the extra 100 points, but not able to win the gunfight. So that puts an end to any streaks he's going to be able to earn. Hardpoint back in TK's favor. Still 20 seconds left here, Revenant. I mean, if TK get it, this game is going to be 15 points. That's all that's going to separate them with 1:40 still to play.
Okay, here you go. TK, now they find themselves back in the game. Accuracy working towards some streaks. He's 220 points away from earning that glide bomb spots. Bance, if he could pick up this kill, get the capture points as well, he might be able to do it.
Oh, he's being aggressive.
You like the idea.
I feel like that's the story of this game. So many times players have been close to streaks. They've been 1, maybe 2 kills away, and just ultimately not getting them. And I mean, that's why.
And you know, that's a fairly new change to the game. It's not too long ago where Sledgehammer adjusted the points for competitive. The amount it takes to earn, you know, the fighter pilot, the glide bomb as well. It's having a big impact. We see it here in this game, but right now, as it stands, 1 minute 30 seconds left on the game timer, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind. But right now, it's Splyce. What was a 100-point lead earlier for them in the game, now down to just 20 points. If TK lock down the remaining time, they have the lead. But jumping out of the hard point, it's Pharaoh up close and personal with the SCG. Can't get it done. Accuracy here to follow up. He finds one, can't get the second, as both teams desperately trying to fight for control over near Ruins. And as this game ticks forward, favors Splyce. They have positioning for this upcoming hard point.
And that's exactly what I was about to mention. Look at the minimap, right?
I swear, Ben, when we're casting, we just read each other's minds.
Pretty much, right? You can see the spawn that comes in for Splyce. They have bunker control. It's fine. Give up that scrap 15 seconds to TK. It doesn't matter. Is it going to be close to a tied game? Yeah, sure. But you can turn this into a money hill. Exactly what we saw TK do on the second rotation. Now Splyce are in a prime opportunity, in a prime position to try and do exactly that.
All right, let's see if they could get a return on their investment as TK fighting around the back from Bell, looking to get the spawns in their favor. The members from Splyce spawning out over near cabin, fighting through wood. Josh finding a big kill there on your accuracy and staying alive. You see accuracy now spawning out near the back side of the map, so only 2 players here for TK looking to contest for spawns, and Josh stays alive for just long enough. Splyce now building the lead that they once had.
And it's worth mentioning just how much of a big delay that actually caused. TK had to hunt down Josh. He's wasting time. Jerd backs away from the hill. Now wants to push back towards the front. He had the support there from Josh. So hardpoint still going to be contested. And bear in mind, a contest here. Look at what it's going to do to that shot clock. A minute 12. Overall, still to be played. TK retake control. And as we head over towards a new East Road here, Evan, this is dangerously close now to a tied game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's see how this one is going to play out as we enter towards the end. Take a look at the members of Splyce. Bance is having a pretty good game, all things considered, but still I'm looking at Josh, the new guy, not having too big of an impact. I mean, he's got a lot of interactions, and you think how different this game would be had he won the majority of those interactions. But here we go. East Road hardpoint now popped up. Splyce only need 32 more seconds to close this one out. TK trying to stay alive.
And bear in mind, if you're Splyce here, you can afford to not actually jump in the hill and try and slay around. You know, keep trying to reduce the amount of time left on the hill. And Josh, meanwhile, may actually decide to just go for a little bit of a juggle there on the hill. That's some windy shots. Okay. That explains why he's 30 and 43. Meanwhile, Bance pushing through cabin. He's basically the last man there for Splyce with 30 seconds left. You cannot afford to give all of this time to TK.
Go to Kenny, please. Look how annoying Kenny's being, just laying down the middle of the crater, able to find one, continuing to streak, but doesn't earn any score streaks. By the way, Kenny over 40 kills now, 42 and 38. Wow. He also has a ton of interactions, and I swear, as soon as Pharaoh switched to that second SMG, things just started to turn around for this TK lineup, as they should be able to lock down the remaining 10 seconds here. TK are going to take the lead in this game.
Yep, this is going to be huge gunfights as the rotations come through. Kenny trying to push through Fire Alley. He falls. Splyce should have early control. Bance with a big trade there on accuracy. Can he find Pharaoh as well? Yes, he can. Splyce with the advantage, and it's important to note they can win on this hill as well.
Both teams had the opportunity to do so, but it's TK looking to break on in. Enable finds one, Enable finds two, Enable finds all three as he takes down back at Spots. The spawns coming in as well for Splyce. TK looking to close out the game right here, right now, off the back of an impressive force read from Enable.
And he's going to keep on going. That's 5. Ultimately does drop, but there's still a player in the hill. It's accuracy. And has his teammate watched the cross? No. A rare little mistake, and actually tries to play his life. Ultimately, he drops, and Splyce now can win. If they stay on the hill, they need to get inside the hill.
Whoever's won, Bance had a complete spoiler here. He finds one. Can he get the second? But he wanted to take TK out of the hill. Yes. Okay, so we're going to be looking forward to the next hardpoint, but TKs are set up.
The rotation.
TK are set up. They have this one in their favor.
That's such
Splyce had to go. They got to go.
That's such a big potential misplay.
You don't even want these 5 seconds. You got to fight for the next hardpoint. Jerd, you have to push out. Those seconds mean nothing if you can't fight for this next hardpoint.
Well, 8 seconds is all Team Kaliber need. They're in the hill.
They have it. It takes them longer to get to the hardpoint.
And a bizarre series of events to close out map 1, but it's TK that ultimately clutch up, and it was ironic. If you remember the very beginning of the game, the first push Jerd did on the first hill goes straight through the middle of the map. It's almost bittersweet that Enable, the 3-piece, which arguably wins TK the game, is the exact same play. He pushes straight through, catches 3 players to Splyce. The second shot was absolutely nasty. But a wonderful clutch performance there from TK. But it's worth mentioning on the flip side there, some mistakes came through there from Splyce. And I mean, you would have loved to see them, sit in the hill when you can win the game on points, just to put the pressure on TK. It forces TK to come to you, so then therefore, if it does go to a new hill, they're not fully set up on rotation. The way they played that was maybe a little too risky, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to say that Splyce just crumbled, in the mid to late stage of the game. They had a very impressive start. You build over a 100-point lead, but I think I pointed it out perfectly. Once Pharaoh switches over to that second SMG, you have Kenny who feels more comfortable on the map. He's got someone who could follow him up or, play bait for him. I think that's the moment in the game where TK started to turn things around. And then, of course, we already talked about it, but Enable's 3-piece at the end there to clear out that cave hardpoint was super impressive. You love to see the new players on these teams having a big impact early on.
Yeah, you most definitely do. And then kind of on the flip side, you mentioned a few times, Josh, not really having the best game statistically, a lot of interactions, but you would have loved to see maybe a few more of those interactions be some kills as opposed to the death column. But ultimately, not the best map 1. It started off so well for Splyce, but it kind of crumbles towards the end. I do want to take a look at the end of the game once again in our Scuff Gaming play of the game. It's crazy. It really is. 30 seconds left overall game time, and it was actually just prior to this where Splyce could have won the game. So if you rewind that even a further 15 seconds, Splyce had a good opportunity of just winning the game by sitting in the hill. Instead, they kind of push out and they try and play for the kills.
And as soon as Bance gets this kill on accuracy, this remaining time on the cave hardpoint no longer matters to Splyce. Since they cannot close out the game, all the attention should be put onto this next upcoming hardpoint. With TK only 8 seconds away from winning, you need everybody on that other side of the map to try to find kills in transition and maybe find a way to contest into the hardpoint, but they were just so far away.
And it's worth mentioning as well, after Bance dies there, or sorry, prior to Bance dying, he was a kill away from Streaks. Who was it that killed him? Enable again. So Enable winning some very important gunfights throughout that entire map, ultimately giving TK the edge. And I'm sure the TK fans out there are going to be pretty happy with how that finished. Definitely not happy with how it started. Looked very scary indeed.
I feel like every player in the lobby, aside from Joshua, at one point or another, was close to earning some streaks, but just never able to earn it. And, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but, the recent changes coming in as we were entering CWL Seattle, adjustment to the score streak point earnage. Definitely, I like the change here in competitive play. I think it makes those streaks a lot more impactful when you do wind up earning them. But coming up next, I believe it's going to be a USS Texas Search and Destroy. So typically this has been a good map for Splyce, and TK have had some nail biters throughout the course of World War II on this very map. Looking forward to see what sniper matchups we see from both teams.
Yeah, most definitely. Very excited. I forgot the USS Tech. For some reason, I thought it was a Game 5, but excited that it is going to be that Game 2. Gives Splyce a good chance to just kind of level the playing field here. You do not want to allow TK to go 2-0 up, but to your point, we've seen TK have a lot of success on Texas throughout the year. Admittedly, Theory and his sniping ability definitely played dividends to that, but still, a talented USS Texas Search and Destroy team.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the map a little bit more, typically you see teams like to utilize smoke grenades to try to bait out grenades, and something to add on to that, like if you want to be that player to use a smoke grenade, you can't use the armored division. Obviously it's restricted on that division loadout, so that means on the other team, like if you see those smoke grenades being thrown out, you know that either your stun or your lethal grenade is going to have some sort of effect on the other team. So if you see those smoke grenades being thrown out early on, the bomb planner for sure is going to have armored. Look to try to isolate one of the players in the back. See if you could, get a stun on them and then swarm them towards the end of the round.
It's a good point. It's a very good point because, previously, kind of pre-patch, you saw the smokes kind of go out. It didn't really have too much of a massive effect, whereas now, as soon as you see that smoke, it's going to give you all the information you need in terms of, where to kind of throw those nades first and foremost, but also that you could potentially get a pick with those nades, making them just a little bit more valuable.
Also, just playing for information, just throwing out a stun to stun check. Everybody has a stun, everybody has a lethal grenade now to throw at the bomb sites. So, throwing out those smokes, you got to make sure, these players, any player here playing at the top level, you're going to be counting the grenades that get thrown at you, right? In Search and Destroy, you're going to be like, okay, one lethal down, two lethal down. And that's going to signal, okay, we can comfortably get the bomb planted once those are out of the way and move forward with the round. But, once again, we've talked about this, a lot so far. This is a solid map for both teams. I think it's going to be close and contested, but obviously Splyce, they might be a little bit defeated after dropping that map 1, after having such a strong start, falling apart towards the end, and then now a lot of momentum in favor of TK. I think this round 1 here is going to be big for Splyce.
And it's tough, right? Because you start off, here you are at stage 2, your first game, second game of the day, you sit down and you have a 100-point lead, and you're thinking, oh my God, this is the best roster change you could have made. That's what you're thinking in the back of your head, right? The Splyce fans out there saying, yeah, this is what we needed.
Josh just Splyce.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, you know, you start seeing TK come back and back and back, and then ultimately you lose the map. Curious to see kind of mentally what effect that's going to have on the Splyce guys. Because again, you know, you talk about stage 1, it wasn't an ideal scenario for what happened to them. Of course, not able to play with their full squad in the first week. Here, you know, no excuses almost. So they do need to come out and get a top performance. But this TK squad, you know, we were speaking to Kenny a little bit earlier on, asking, you know, how's practice going? I said, love it.
Yeah.
I'm loving playing with Enable. Something Nameless has said a fair amount of times, obviously a former teammate to Enable, is the communication he brings through. And I think that comes from, you know, just experience in so many different games as well, different titles, and just experience playing competitive esports. It's insane. Like, having lived with the guy, I can tell you, when he communicates, oh, it's good communication. No useless information at all.
Yeah, of course, you know, coming up in June, CWL Anaheim, tickets on sale. Always one of the biggest events of the year. If you haven't been out to an Anaheim event, you want to come to this one.
Yes,
always memorable moments. But speaking a bit more about Enable, you know, there's nobody out there that knows more about communication than I do. And I respect the communication that Enable brings to the table. And it's big because, you know, Pharaoh, he's a young player coming onto this TK lineup. You know, he primarily comes from the Search and Destroy background. So sometimes his communication might falter a little bit in the respawn game modes. Enable could definitely help him out in that area.
You never called out enough in your playing career, Revan. That's for sure. So we're going to kick things off on board with Pharaoh. See if he's going to be able to find a potential pick with the sniper rifle. On the flip side, of course, it is going to be Jerd. That's what you should expect to see. Josh, he's going to have bomb here for Splyce. Well, a smoke does pop. Stun popped as well. And there's what, obviously, TK very wary of, kind of counter-throwing those nades.
Yep, just stun checking. Nobody on the bomb. We could wait. We don't have to expend all of our utility just yet. Now Jerd going to start roam around with the sniper rifle. And, you know, we saw Pharaoh back at Seattle had a huge impact with the sniper. A lot of, you know, quick snipes coming into play, but Enable, he team kills Kenny. The bomb gets planted. Now here comes Bance around the flank. At least he takes down Pharaoh before he falls to accuracy, so that makes it a 3v2 situation favoring Splyce.
Mad Cat watching that flank. Meanwhile, Josh in a gunfight with Enable. Enable tagged up. It's just, of course, Enable and Accuracy alive. Accuracy just being very, very cautious. Of course, they know Jerd's going to have that sniper rifle. Accuracy now makes his way over towards site. Shots fired. Jerd with the hit marker. That's unfortunate, but he gets the information at least. Now going for the elaborate jump snipe. This is about just bleeding time off the clock. Yeah. As soon as Mad Cat finds that pick on Accuracy, that round is done.
You know, funny I talk about it. I thought this round 1 would be big for Splyce, and you see Bance with a smile on his face, so just lightening the mood. You know, it's nice, you know, when you're prepping for these events and prepping for these specific matches to see, all right, you know, the strat we brought out, it works. You know, what we theory crafted back at home, it works here on the main stage. So big round 1 for Splyce, looking to forget about that hardpoint loss. Now it's going to be TK with the chance for their offensive round, of course. Highlighting the two snipers, Jerd versus Pharaoh. Let's see what TK could bring to the table here on offense.
Well, Accuracy, of course, going to have that bomb. Meanwhile, Kenny rocking that airborne. Is he just going to hit bottom middle? He has the support here of Enable. No, Kenny, he's actually going to head over towards the A side. The smoke grenades and stuns go out already. But it looks like TK, they're thinking about a B play here. I like this.
Enable playing some catch with Bance. First blood coming into play, and the bomb already getting planted. Josh is actually right next to it. The bomb gets planted. Josh is there for the trade, so it's an even man count, but TK can now play their post-plant positioning. Kenny looking for the angle spots. Mad Cat can't finish the kill down to Pharaoh and Enable.
Great read from Mad Cat, expecting the pressure to be that far up on the map, and now all of a sudden, Pharaoh and Enable 2v3. Josh hunts down one, Jerd hunts down the other, and just like that, what looked as if it could be a great
Why aren't they giving Mad Cat
round.
Okay, because Josh has the plant. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Just a fraction closer, I believe. But again, all smiles from the boys in Splyce as they have now a 2-0 lead in the search.
Yeah, of course. And it's also great to see Josh now starting to find a rhythm here. Obviously struggled in that first hardpoint map, but you know, in these first couple rounds of Search and Destroy, he's been making some big plays for his team. Let's see if he could keep it going, though. You know, we saw Splyce. I hate to keep going back to that first hardpoint match, but
hey,
strong start. Very slow finish.
Yeah, right.
They gotta start strong and finish strong here in this Search and Destroy.
They most definitely do. And again, important to note, Josh close to streaks and has bomb in hand as well. So a plant here will be massively beneficial. We saw them play over towards the A site, just checking he's not being rushed just yet. May linger here for a little bit longer, just in anticipation. But nothing comes. And sadly, now they lose A-site control, but Bance actually guns Kenny, and this is a prime opportunity now to just get that bomb down. As long as Bance turns around and watches that flank from Josh, now ideally, yes, you're in what, a 2v2, but you're just a kill away from streaks. That would have been massive. And instead, Bance in a 1v2.
Okay, let's see if he could get it done. First, he's going to check the bomb. Nobody defusing, but he spots accuracy. Now it's going to prime Enable to go out for the challenge. Can't win that engagement. It was getting pretty close there for a second, but Bance does wind up falling. Enable will pick up the defuse as he has 2 kills in that round. TK with their first round on the board.
It's small, but maybe important little thing to note there is as soon as Enable jumps out, accuracy's jumping as well. They made sure that they weren't going to give up that 2v1. Just a very, very smart play there from accuracy, just kind of securing the round. Many players could have just kind of stayed on the bomb and say, oh, why'd you jump out?
Right?
You didn't do that. But no, he challenges with his teammate. It's the small things like that which often have a big impact on how things go.
That's playing off of your teammate.
Right.
Just general teamwork. Great to see from TK. Playing off one another, especially Enable, the new guy coming to the team. Accuracy trusting him with the call to challenge onto Bance. But here we go, TK back on offense. Bomb in the hands of Enable. Pharaoh looking to find a pick here with the sniper, but player pushing right up. He gets caught with his pants down as Bance picks up the kill. First blood going in favor of Splyce. Now Josh is going to back on up. They know they have the man advantage. It's up to TK to plant, but Bance.
How has this just been allowed?
He's been spotted by Kenny. Kenny wins the engagement. Now all of a sudden, TK up 3-2. They could look to get the bomb planted. 50 seconds remaining in the round. It's down to Mad Cat and Jerd.
And here's what's surprising. You have Bans pushing so far forward, but look at how passive both Mad Cat and Jerd
Going to follow up.
It's not even necessarily even the follow-up. It's just putting pressure on the map, right? If you think of it as kind of like the yards, why are they not kind of at the halfway point when you have a teammate flying into the enemy spawn? You could at least get some information and put yourself in some good power positions. Oh, I thought Mad Cat was going to go for the ninja. Would have been so sneaky. Now Jerd, 1v2, sniper rifle in hand. And this is another round which seems as if it's just kind of...
Smoke the fuse, please. Smoke the fuse.
Come on.
He's got armored. Sorry, he doesn't have one. I thought that was a smoke for a second. Anyways, one
that would
for
be
Jerd.
next level.
25 seconds left. Things working against him. If you could pick up the kill into accuracy, that would be nice. He's on his 3 spots. Kenny, get some shots down, but now accuracy's just going to reposition. And you could see that they want to give accuracy the kill, but as he commits to the fight onto Kenny, I believe Kenny's the one to finish that one off there. So TK finding their footing here and search and destroy.
Kenny put a bullet into him, stop shooting. He's like, bro, he's over here. Put another bullet. You gonna kill him? No, you're not? All right, I'm just going to kill him. Never mind. Don't worry about it, my friend. But ultimately, as you mentioned, of course, actually getting a little close there. To a few streaks, but it felt like another round. You know, you get a free first blood. Pharaoh's not even looking at you, and then all of a sudden the round just gets away from Splyce.
Yeah, I think just some overextension, some over-aggression from the side of Splyce. They gave up 2 free kills, essentially. Bance pushed forward, and I think Josh was another player that pushed forward and fell. But, you know, regardless, Splyce, they come out, they win the first 2 rounds, and now TK, they respond with 2 rounds of their own. So here you go. Splyce now back on offense. Bomb in the hands of Josh. He's got 2 plants already in this game, so both offenses have been, for Splyce, they've been able to get the objective down. Let's see if they could keep the streak going here. I will say the snipers haven't had a huge impact here. Pharaoh with 1 kill, Jerd with 1 kill. Typically not what we see on a map like USS Texas.
Very true. I'm pretty sure one of them came in a post-plant position as well. Yeah, it was Jerd's, I believe. So really not seeing a massive opening picks come through from either of the 2 snipers, but Bomb again going down. It's Josh on there. Bance is in support, and look how close Bance is here. So even if Josh falls, they have no idea that Bance is being this sneaky.
Yeah, I think that was through the smoke, the snipe from Pharaoh. But yeah, Bance, you were talking about it. Laying down near the bomb, spots another one. That's Enable. When you're there, top control, and pushing forward, it's going to be Pharaoh. Spots Mad Cat down low. Doesn't connect on the shot, and now Spot's giving up. But he might be able to find the angle on the Jerd as he pushes on forward. Mad Cat's forced to back down. Jerd's going to reposition. You see all the action going down on your minimap. Can you find the kill? Yes, he can. That's a huge kill to pick. As now Mad Cat falls as well. It's all down to Bance. But the bomb's being defused.
Where is Bance? That's the question. He's hunting down one. Kobe?
Nah.
Doesn't matter. Not enough time for the nade to even pop. TK, 3 rounds in a row now. And another one, you know, you love the way that the kind of round started to develop. Yes, Josh falls with what looked like a crazy snipe through smoke, right? But then you have Bance who's able to level things up. It's a 3v3, and TK still, even with bomb down, are able to clean up the players and get the defuse.
You know, the play that wins TK the round right there is when Pharaoh decides to push through that overlook, and he gets the snipe onto Jerd. Once you pick up that kill on the Jerd, right, you know he's going to be the player furthest pushed back in the base, and then you just have all the angles onto the bomb side after that.
And it forces the other 2 to be completely collapsed on, right? They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You have TK players to your left, right, and center. It's a very, very tough position to be in. But as we mentioned, TK 3-2 up. It's TK back on the attacking side, Enable bomb in hand. And the round just kind of goes to a snail's pace as Enable looking to bait any kind of nades, get any amount of information. And Josh in what is now a pretty common sneak spot. I'm curious to see if Pharaoh checks it, if he decides to push B lane, decides against it, and just backs away wisely.
Okay, so both teams really just trying to feel each other out, right? Count the grenades that are being thrown out. See if you could find somebody being a bit overly aggressive on the map. But this is a swing round right here. It's either TK going up 4-2 or Splyce tying the game up. And it's Pharaoh with first blood, but Bance follows up with the grenade kill onto Enable.
And that's beautiful nades from Splyce, right? You see two thrown out simultaneously onto the site. However, Bance loses a gunfight there to accuracy. And now you've got yourself 3v2, but Josh is now trying to be sneaky himself. Goes on the flank, finds one. Second player on site, tags him up just a tad. Nade's going to be thrown out as well. Kenny's flanking Mad Cat, though, so Josh does actually find the pick, but now it's a 1v1. Kenny versus Josh.
Okay, Josh now making his way up towards the bomb site. Kenny should spot him here in a second. Time obviously on Kenny's side, and Josh, he might go right for the defuse. He might go right for the defuse. Kenny, is he gonna peek? Is he gonna challenge? He's running out of time. Josh stands up. Josh goes to go for the challenge. Kenny gets the kill just in the nick of time as TK go up now 4-2.
And that's bold play from both players, really. You know, Josh just says, I have to stick it. Highest possible chance there of running them around. But accuracy, or sorry, Kenny rather, just pushes straight towards him and finds the pick. So a wonderful read from him. Just gets the nice little angle there to shoot Josh in the side.
Yeah, just a great read from Kenny. He knows that once Josh gets to that bomb site, Josh now has the favorable positioning, using the bomb as cover. And no, the bomb was not planted for Kenny. Kenny was over near the defensive side of the map, but he's able to get the angle onto Josh just as that defuse was getting close to taking off. Now TK, they have a comfortable lead here in the search and destroy, up by 2 rounds. They find themselves on defense. I will say Josh, he's been able to get the bomb planted on every offensive round, so Splyce have done a great job getting the objective down, but when it comes to post-plant positioning, getting the kills after the objective has been placed down, that's where they've been falling apart.
And it's worth mentioning, we're not really seeing too much change in Splyce's initial, right? Every time they're on the attacking side, they've played over towards that A site rather successfully, to be completely honest with you, and ultimately now, bomb goes down again. Guess what? They have number advantage, but I'm getting deja vu. Revan, we've been here before. Will we see TK come back and take the round? Well, that's a good start. That's a great start. Well, never mind then.
Oh my God. What was that shot? It's all down to Bance. A 1v3. The players for TK behind the bomb site, they pick up the kills. It was a 3v4 for TK. They don't lose anybody retaking that bomb site. Actually, with the fuse, now he gets score streaks to use in these upcoming rounds.
How did Pharaoh hit the second shot?
I don't know.
The shot onto Jerd, like, Jerd must be just I mean, we'll see it from Jerd's perspective, but look, Jerd is there and Jerd is pre-aiming. He sees his teammate die, and he's like, all right, well, Pharaoh has to be here.
That's just a nice shot.
Bear in mind how slow-mo that is,
I know.
too. Like, we're talking milliseconds. That is a disgustingly good shot from Pharaoh. You know, it's funny because we said at the beginning, snipers haven't had too much of an effect. Well, Pharaoh basically just wins his team around there. His accuracy gets a big double to kick things off, and once again, Splyce start off strong.
I'm a little bit tilted after watching that round unfold, but Splyce, they find a way back into this round. It's now down to a 1v2. Mad Cat left here for Splyce. Keep in mind, accuracy has streaks to work with. The bomb will get planted. Obviously, TK in the favorable positioning. I wonder if accuracy...
You use it. You 100% use it.
I think, yeah, you just fall back, have Enable set on the bomb, just go sit in a corner. I mean, Mad Cat doesn't have Mountain on. And you're still using the glide bomb to crash into the site anyways. He's going to spot him here. He could call it in. He knows he's out of position. He knows he doesn't have Mountain. Enable's going to pick up the kill in the end as TK, they take the search and destroy, and now they're up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, and looking good as well. I mean, they started off very slow in the hard point. Let's not beat around the bush. You know, game 2, yeah.
Same here in the search and destroy.
Maybe they're down, 2 rounds, not the end of the world, but a wonderful performance from TK in the search.
6 rounds in a row.
It was a full 6-round sweep there, and Splyce kind of comes back to the drawing board. Essentially, there from everything they've been working on in practice, clearly not working out too well there against TK. Some big rounds won, but you think you have to go back to that Pharaoh snipe round. Basically, single-handedly wins them that, and after that, you said you're tilted. Well, I was a little tilted as well.
I mean, the thing is, on the side of Splyce, you pretty much did like the same thing every offensive round, and you just weren't able to pick up the kills post-plant. Right down to that.
Pretty much simple when you say it like that. Of course, as it stands, TK with the 2-0 lead. We'll be back after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first day of Stage 2 here at the Call of Duty World League, presented by the PlayStation 4. Its second game of the day, it's Splyce versus TK. Of course, both teams making some roster changes, and we were excited coming into this one to see how things have panned out. Well, the one thing we have learned is Splyce start off their maps very, very strong. The other thing we learned is TK end their games even stronger, and that's really been the storyline of both map 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think that's something that Enable also adds to this Team Kaliber team. I mean, just they seem to be very resilient, at least in this series against Splyce. No matter what deficit they find themselves in, they fight till the very end, and they go until the game screen comes up and says game over. I mean, you saw it in that game on Hardpoint, and in the Search and Destroy, they lose the first 2 rounds, then they rattle off 6 in a row. But here we go, catch the flag tower. Kenny's about to get flanked, and he's going to get shut down, which should stop most of the aggression from this TK lineup and give Splyce an opportunity to breathe. But Mad Cat, you had a teammate just push out over near wood. Why not just rotate back to your base and look over towards your main gun? And Josh is making the same mistake. That might allow Pharaoh to sneak through the base and potentially get a flag pull out.
Have to wait and see. Enable is going to win the gunfight mid-map. That's Jared and Josh that both fall.
Pharaoh wins one gunfight, there's a flag cap.
Problem is, not taking the gunfight early gives Splyce time to spawn up, and instantly you see Josh spawns and he says, hold on a minute, I spawned with you. That entire
Bance is looking
right side lane has to have a player there, and Bance sniffs him out, and that was perfect defensive CTF right there from Splyce.
Yeah, at this level of competition, you know when somebody's sneaking in your base, right? And Pharaoh definitely had to make a play happen earlier, but here we go, all 4 down for Splyce. This is an opportunity for TK to set up on the map, establish some map control, try to get that second wave of kills, which is tough to do on a map like Flag Tower, so you can push in, collapse on the base, and get that flag out of dodge.
Here's the problem, though. When one player pushes, you need everybody else to push. It has to be a full collapse. You can't allow just the right-hand side lane to push while you're sat playing passive on the left-hand side lane, especially when you're all as pushed up as TK were in that situation. But a minute and a half gone. So far, a lot of pressure coming in from TK. Really not seeing too much here from Splyce. I mean, you look at the kills of Kenny already with 6 to his name. Really having a good series.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of engagements. I think he finished with like 48 or something kills in the hard point. Saw him a couple of moments in that Search and Destroy, and starting off strong here in the capture flag. Something you like to see, and here you go. First flag pull of the game, and first return of the game. Like that. As you know, sometimes Flag Tower, it plays out like that, where it's just both teams trading 4 kills back and forth, just trying to establish that second wave of kills. Big defensive kills coming in from Mad Cat. Speaking of, as he finds one, can he get the second? Yes, he can. And now, what are these other 2 players from TK going to do? They can't push into the base of Splyce. They just have to stay alive and maintain what forward progress they have. And once again, it's Pharaoh with an opportunity to sneak through. This time around, he finds the kill, and the Mad Cat immediately traded out. And once again, what are these remaining 2 players from TK going to do? Both their teammates just died. They have to try to find a way to just play their life.
And don't underestimate that play from Mad Cat, right? It basically 1v4, all of his teammates dead. He has to stay alive, has to play his life, but finds 2 kills as well. Fully stops the push from Team Kaliber. Still a 0-0 game here with 2 minutes of the first half still to play in game 3. Of course, if you are just tuning in, it's TK with the 2-0 lead in the series. Now, over to Enable's POV. It's going to be Bance. He's going to spot first and foremost. Finds the pick. Meanwhile, Josh looking to put some pressure on the flag. Pharaoh turns around and says, no, 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 my friend. That flag belongs to me.
You pick up that kill. It's potentially a flag cap for Splyce. And speaking of, Enable's got the flag of Splyce in his hands. Kenny looking to cut off middle map as he falls. Enable, is he going to try to dive across? He gets down low. Now safe in his base. He's got teammate support. TK are going to get the first flag cap on the board thanks to Josh getting turned on by Pharaoh.
And if you're Splycing, you're kind of wondering, how did that go wrong? I mean, that's a gunfight. Josh simply has to win. There's no beating around the bush on that one, sadly. As TK, as you mentioned, 1-0 up, and Enable slows down his playstyle a little bit for 2 reasons. He's expecting the pressure to come through from Splyce, and more importantly, playing towards those streaks. Pre-fires the second, not going to find the pick. The trade doesn't come through. Mad Cat just trying to take over this game by himself. 9 and 5, a 3 streak. Flags being run. Now, if Splyce is able to slay out, you'd love to see maybe Mad Cat team kill, pick up the flag, cap the flag himself. But the problem is, in this situation, you can't afford to do that. Just get the flag in by any means necessary, tie up this game.
Yeah, that's obviously the most important thing about that sequence of plays, right? You get the flag cap for Splyce. Bance now has that one on the board, and now he's on a 2 spree. He's now 250 points away from that glide bomb. I think you want, well, now you can't play for it anymore. Enable picks up the kill, but here comes TK back on the offensive. It's Mad Cat once again with a big defensive hold. He finds 2, and now 2 remaining players for TK up on the map. 3 fall. It's going to be Splyce now with a chance to turn around, put up some aggression, and establish some map control.
Yeah, Mad Cat simply just so good in CTF. I mean, it's just a game type which just suits him. It really does. At 12 and 6. on a 2 streak once again. He's made so many individual plays. That's the key here on the defensive side. Even one on the aggressive side, of course, he gets that 2-piece, which allows the flag to come out and ultimately results in Splyce getting their first flag in the game.
Sneak. This is how you sneak. Right here. Okay, it's going to be up to Kenny to call this one out. Let's see where Kenny winds up spawning up at. So here you go. Yep, he spawns up over near his big gun, and he's like, I shouldn't really be spawning here. Let me rotate back, and Mad Cat's going to spot him. But what's going on over near the Splyce base? Oh, everybody falls. Mad Cat has to win this 1v1 up against Kenny. If he doesn't, it's going to be a flag cap for TK. But here you go. He wins the one-on-one engagement, but it's still all up to Mad Cat. His teammates now coming off respawn. They have to get these cutoffs from him. They have to support Mad Cat. Otherwise, it's going to be TK taking the lead. And there you go. The kills come in mid-map. Josh and Bats both find the kills, and now the tables have turned. It's Splyce on the aggression. Now they have a chance to go for the return and the cap to take the lead going into the half.
And it's Josh. Can he redeem himself from earlier on? No, he can't. He falls. So we have a stalemate situation, but now there's a play from TK as well. Watch out for Kenny. He's looking to get the kill, but it doesn't come through. The cap does instead. And Splyce with the advantage at the half. And it's worth mentioning, I don't really think that was a deserved lead by any means.
Absolutely not.
And the only thing that kept them in that was Mad Cat.
Yeah, MVP Cat for this game. He's having a huge impact for Splyce on the CTF. He's really done it all. You talk about defensive plays. You talk about catalyzing offense, and he's doing all of that as the assault rifle player, right? He's like the only one in the lobby right now, I think, with an AR in his hands. And, you know, take a look at his scoreline, 13-6. Bant's next in the line. He's even, but the other two not positive. Mad Cat also with streaks to use. He's got the glide bomb. Certainly want to see him play for more.
Yeah, he really needs to stay alive here and get those extra streaks. Well, never mind. Just like that, he falls, as does Jared. Accuracy's going to shut down Ben, so it's going to leave Josh alive momentarily, and I feel like Josh just not getting anything on his side right now.
Yeah, sometimes you have those games, and you need to recognize when you're not winning the majority of your engagements and adjust your playstyle accordingly. There are things you could do to, you know, limit those one-on-one gun interactions. You know, shoot people in the side, sneak around a little bit more.
Sit in the corner.
Angles. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, it's not the most flashy of playstyles, but you're here to win money. You're here to win games. Whatever it takes, you got to do.
Well, early on in the second half, really not much but trading, as you can see on that minimap top left. TK starting to constrict over towards Splyce's base, and it's going to come in the form of Enable. His teammate finds a pick, and this is where they need to make sure they trade these kills effectively. Mad Cat has fallen, and now this is a prime opportunity for Team Kaliber to try and sneak that flag away. Accuracy with a great nade there onto Bance. He placed that perfectly with his teammates, and unfortunately, Mad Cat spawns right in front of Accuracy.
Yeah, Accuracy obviously not anticipating that, probably thinking that they're going to spawn out over near the electric side of the map, so he's just trying to get away over near the big gun, but doesn't wind up playing like that. Now Enable with a chance to sneak on through, a player above him. That's going to be Bance, and Bance has been sniffing out these sneaks. Oh, he didn't see him.
Oh, no.
He didn't see him. Enable could get this sneak through.
He's leaving him for Jared, I think. Jared is going to but the problem is, well, Jared is
This puts a timer on the push, right? This puts a timer on what Splyce need to do.
This is going to be very, very tough. Of course, the flag is out. Enable's running it, and this seems like a perfect opportunity to go to a TK Astro Gaming listening.
Right now, go for 4, I think.
Top that window. Top that window.
Smoking our top guy. He wasted a missile. Wasted a missile.
Pushing out left.
We got
Could be our low gun. Could be our low gun.
Yeah, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up.
Could be like front or mid somewhere. One's bottom, they're mid.
I don't see low green.
Oh, on our mid, in our mid.
I'm low gun right now.
I also got in mid. He for that from mid.
Front.
One shot there bottom mid. One shot there bottom mid. One's outside wood.
I'm underground.
Tell me wood. Tell me wood. He told me on the
Elevator. Oh, you got me.
Try to sneak. Try to sneak in.
I was there. Two bottom green. Two right. Two gonna be gun.
Alright. Be alright. I'm going top gun. I'm going top gun.
I'm looking low.
Nice. There's gonna be one low. 100%. I spawned right. I spawned right.
Bottom weak.
Our Oscar on the sandbag.
Bottom mid dead.
On the sandbag, just chilling with AR.
I'm behind him. I'm
Weak
mid.
on outskirts. I'm gonna
pitch. Yeah, we're pitching. Just stay alive, Jay.
Both you guys don't go.
No, I know. I'm going Jets.
Outskirts dead.
Oh, once our bottom mid. I'm in Jets. I'm in Jets.
Bottom mid. One shot. Bottom shot. Bottom mid dead.
Nice. Yo, I'm holding their gens.
I'm there.
Once they're back left. Once they're back left. I'm
I'm going right.
Picking up right. Back left.
Yeah. I'm in Jets.
Oh, he's in the corner. That bottom mid. He pushed gens.
I don't see him.
He's like outside to the left.
I had their right.
No, the outskirts is open.
Bottom mid dead.
Yeah, back outskirts. I got Jared.
Let's go. I'm climbing top.
Oh, another one, Jen. Another inside. He's ran back. Josh, their side, Jens.
One shot outside gens, bro.
Okay.
One shot. He went inner. He went inner.
Try to hide that.
Yeah, just hold on.
I'm there bottom mid.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna pick up last one. You saw him. Yeah, he saw you.
Top gun got me, bro.
Another unsuccessful push from TK. It seems like they need that final kill there, Revan, and they get that flag away.
It's hard. I mean, they're not the only team that struggles with getting that second wave of kills. It's just the way the map plays out. You know, typically the spawn for the other team, no matter what side you're pushing, is typically right behind that flag peg. So even when you get that first wave of kills, you push up both lanes of the map. You establish some sort of control, they spawn right on their flag. You have to get that second waves, and it's tough. You know, those players spawn up with defensive positioning, and you know, when you're having the game that Mad Cat's having, Splyce just wind up coming up clutch time and time again on their defensive end.
Again, double positive, but don't sit by any means back and say, oh, he's padding his stats. Not at all.
Cancels out Jerd going double neg.
Yeah, definitely does. 2 huge attacking plays and 2 huge defensive plays from Mad Cat in the first half. Second half really not had to be too flashy. It's just about consistently trading, and that's really been the name of the game here for Splyce. And TK, you know, they haven't really been able to find an answer to it.
Well, they got to find an answer soon. A minute remaining in this game. Right now, Splyce with the 1 flag lead. And we might finally be seeing some life out of Splyce in this series, as you got Jared on your screen here. Open your top gun. Nobody's accounted for him just yet.
It's ironic. They start slow in this one and
yeah, right.
Could finish strong. Maybe that's the key for Splyce. Just give your opponents an early lead, and you never know. You may come back and find the win. Jared, of course, running what could be the 3rd and final flag. He ultimately gets shot in the back from Pharaoh. Josh picks up flag, teammate in support. Pharaoh shuts down Mad Cat, and Abel finds Bans, but is anyone in a position to at least throw a Kobe on towards Josh, a stun, anything? He plays it maybe a little too slow. Oh no. Oh no. Flag gets returned. Josh could have capped that. Yes, he plays it slow to just try and secure the flag, and now all of a sudden Kenny puts the pressure on, finds the pick, 12 seconds left. Accuracy just has to run at the flag.
Okay, things might pay off for Splyce, but actually, yeah, he's got to get a touch. He's got to extend the time, and Splyce know exactly what's up. They're just playing base defense. They take down accuracy. Nobody here to follow up for TK. As Splyce, they're going to find some life in the series. They take their first map win on that Flax Tower CTF, and you know, in that first half, we said wasn't necessarily a deserved lead for Splyce, but they came up clutch when they needed to, thanks to Mad Cat. Having a huge impact here in this game. As we were saying, Splyce, they live to fight another game.
Yeah, they do, and I'm going to be honest, towards the end there, Raven, my heart was in my mouth, if you will. You see Josh, you know, just go all the way deep into his base just to try and secure the flag. Little did he know someone had the angle on him. And then that was where Kenny kind of dives in, gets the return, and then you're thinking, hold on a minute here. There could be a counter cap coming through, and that would have been a hell of a way to throw away that game.
The thing is, like, you think about it, it's only like 1 or 2 more seconds, like 2 or 3 more seconds that it takes to run around the back of your base. But, you know, taking those 2 or 3 seconds, that allows TK to push in through mid, right? Allows them to get through bottom window, and allows them to get that specific angle to take out the flag carrier, getting the return after. And, you know, how tilted would you be losing a game like that? You're inches away from getting that flag cap to secure the game and move on to the 4th. And, you know, had that return came in and then the counter cap came in from TK, personally, me, if I was playing that situation, I would have been tilted off the face of the earth.
Oh,
but
controllers
Splyce, fortunately,
monitors.
Yeah, fortunately, Splyce hold on, and we will be seeing a 4th map.
Yes, we will. Do you remember what Game 4 was?
I know it's a hard point.
Wow, smart guy.
I want to say
right
Docks.
Here.
I think it's
smart guy right here. Game 4, it is going to be a London Docks hard point. And then
I knew all along.
Yeah, of course you did. If it does go the distance, so Game 5 is Saint Marie du Mont, search and destroy. But here's a look how the series has gone thus far. A Ardennes Forest hardpoint, 250-244 in favor of TK. They used that momentum and floated it through nicely into map 2. 6-2 victory on USS Texas. Of course, what we just saw, the CTF Splyce with a 2-1 lead. Really, not much action in the second half. It all really came in the first half. And now, of course, we head over to Game 4, another hardpoint where, you know, if Splyce can start off strong like they did in map number 1, but keep it flowing throughout the map, well, they have a very good chance of taking this the distance. The problem, and, you know, I don't like to point fingers or call out players by any means whatsoever, but Josh needs to step up here in Game 4.
I mean, you know, first series with the new squad, main stage, maybe.
All right, well, you want to talk about Scrap's first game?
Look, I will say, as the stage progresses, you know, these European teams, you know, as we look towards the other division, the Australian teams, as the stage progresses, they're going to get better. Right, you figure as they play against some of the top North American talent,
we've had a stage already.
You're gonna have reps. Yeah,
it's not like these players have never played against North Americans before.
I forgive Splyce, but look,
I'm glad you do.
Looking ahead, London Docks hardpoint, right? Historically, throughout World War II, this has been a map where TK has vetoed in the past, right? Throughout every single series. It's only recently where they started adding it into their map rotation, and this is going to be home map advantage for Splyce. So maybe we could see that Game 5 St. Marie.
And you feel like Enable's going to help kind of those problems as well on London Docks. Curious to see, though, how things potentially do develop, because you're right, you know, for the longest period of time, TK, this was their permaban across the board. Just a map they just didn't really want to play, and, you know, they've won events with that strategy of their kind of veto system. But we digress. Now, Game 4 underway. TK with a 2-1 series lead. We're going to kick things off on board with Enable, the new man to TK. What can he produce off the start?
Okay, Spot's Bant's going in towards Dox, but he's not going to anticipate the pinch coming in as he falls. It's going to be Splyce establishing control early on. Now, when we're talking about this initial statue hardpoint, don't underestimate how powerful your team. You can put your team in a position if you control those statue side stairs, just controlling the angles and forcing the other team to spawn out. You see where number 7s are spawned up and able near that back brick warehouse. If you could force TK to spawn there every single time, it's going to be so annoying for them to try to break into the hardpoint because you essentially have like 2 options. Either you rotate back to your base and fight through fire, try to fight that player on statue stairs, or you overextend like this and try to fight through the gate cut, which is such a narrow area that typically you just see players get mowed down as Jerd sets up here on the statue stairs. Yeah,
it's going to be TK, though, that do have the control. Josh trying to sneak through. There's going to be 1 player in front of him. Accuracy needs to win the gunfight, does so. Now, that opens the door here for a good Splyce rotation. Accuracy, or sorry, I believe that was Kenny, number 8. Thought about maybe hovering his kill cam, decided just spawn in. No one in a position to trade out Josh, so his spawn not going to be influenced. But TK after the first hill, 22 to 6 point lead. And as you can see, Josh now a big double to try and win. Not going to happen. Jerd left by himself, pushes out the hill. He falls. Ben's last man drops like dominoes. TK retake control.
Listen, man, throughout that whole setup, I was watching Kenny on the minimap, number 8. He pushed through Beer, didn't decide to cut through Cole, instead went all the way around through underground, and him being in that area has his teammates pick up the kill on the Splyce members. That forces Splyce to spawn so far out over near the docks toward the side of the map. Now, when we talk about the upcoming hardpoint, that's where Splyce was spawning so far away, and that's allowed TK to now start to build a lead. They're picking off these players from Splyce as they start to rotate in, and as I say that, Bance finds 2. 20 seconds remaining here on the Main Street hardpoint, and Splyce have a person here soaking up time, plus they have positioning over towards the next hardpoint.
That's the key. That's a big 20 seconds, right? It's damage limitation. You don't let TK get too big of a lead. You pick up the scrap time, but you have rotation as well. Ultimately, they lose the final 7 seconds or so there, but you know that rotation way more important. Can Jerd find a second in a row? Yes, he can. Pharaoh falls. Accuracy falls. Kenny falls. 4 players down. Splyce with a good early start here to Doc's warehouse.
And now you're just looking to surge forward, right? You know where TK are spawning on the map. You have the information. Now you're looking to just set up and try to find these kills as TK looking to break. And once you get this second wave of kills, that's when you're going to see Splyce start to push on forward. The upcoming hard point over near Beer, you want to see Splyce push over towards the train side map. Start to establish some control, but TK find the kills. And it looks like there's a tech issue in the game, guys. We're going to pull out for a quick second here as you see the members on Splyce frantically calling out. Game should get ended. They're wondering what's going on, too.
They didn't know that.
We'll get word to you guys as soon as we know exactly what's going on. Looks like maybe on the TK side, looks like maybe Kenny can't hear or something. But I mean, TK, they were playing well, right? That they had a good break into that. The Doc's hardpoint, I mean, the game really could have went either way. I mean, we were still so early on. I think, if I remember correctly, it was TK with a bit of a lead, but, you know, Splyce had that set up in Doc's. Either way, super early on. I don't think a restart here hurts anything.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, you look at, as you said, you know, the first couple of hills, back and forth, TK with a bit of an advantage, but the early setup there, Splyce would have had, probably would have tied things up a little bit there. But we'll see if we can get things going once again here in the game 4 as it stands. Splyce currently down, and this is what a lot of people predicted. You yourself at the start of the series, when I asked you, you said, you know, I think TK probably around 3-1. Looking like that could be the case. You know, nameless chance. They both said, yeah, probably TK around about a 3-1. And I mean, for Splyce, Josh, this is what's kind of a little frustrating, I'm sure, for many of the Europeans out there. Actually started that map very well. He kicks things off with a double, gets inside the hill as well. Kind of a bit better slaying. Hopefully this restart doesn't hurt him.
Now, I found myself in this situation many times as a player where, you know, things out of your control, it happens, you know, the map gets restarted. And now you start to have the discussion, do we want to change what we did off the break?
The mental games.
Right? Yeah, play a bit of mental games. Personally, I've always had that mindset where, no, especially...
Even if you lose the initial?
If you lost the initial...
Because if you win the initial, you're going to do exactly what you did.
Yeah, if you win the initial, obviously, you know, there's that... You're thinking, well, it worked, right? We don't want to change anything up. But then you're thinking, are they going to change anything up? What they didn't really work out too well. It's a lot of mind games, so that's going to be something I'm looking forward to as we enter this replay of the
So if you're, let's say if you're Splyce... Did you change your initial?
No.
Okay.
But if you're TK, maybe.
Okay, so if you're TK, maybe. If you're Splyce, no. Well, we'll see if Josh can produce another magical double kill to kick things off as we load in once again.
Yeah, now that I'm starting to think, I remember the breakout from Splyce, right? They sent 3 towards the water side of the map, 1 on the stairs, one down low towards B-Dom and one in over towards Dox. And I think TK, they sent Enable up on that statue side stairs. So Enable, he's going to be looking out for those 2 extra players, right, coming over near the water side. I mean, we'll see. Here we go. London Dox hard point, kicking it off again. Splyce looking to stay alive in the series to force a game 5. And
look at that.
Here we go. Yep, it's going to be the same breakout for Splyce, but TK, they have a player here that's for Enable.
I love that from Pharaoh. Pharaoh basically says, I'm here, Ian. Don't you worry about it.
I got you, bro.
It just slays straight through and can find the second as well. Yes, he can. So
I thought for a second he jumped into the water after he picked up the kill.
Going for a little bit of a swim. Things getting hot here in game 4 as we go into our reset. TK with a good little adaptation, if you will, of the break off there. Gives them early 8-point lead, but yeah, that's absolutely...
Infantry on a sub, I respect it. Instinct as well, so he won't be bothered by any stuns thrown his way. And think about this, with extended mags on the PPSH, you get something like 52 bullets or something in the clip. You could just shoot for what seems like forever.
So a lot of pre-fire.
Yeah. Plus, you figure with infantry, right, you get that extra stray speed, so you're just pre-aiming everything and just mowing people down.
Just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's all you have to do. As TK look as if they're going to have early control here of second hill. It's going to be down to Madcat from Splyce there. At least win one gunfight. Not going to happen. Accuracy picks him up from afar. Enable trying to push through, and it's just good slaying coming out from TK here early on.
Okay, so it looks like a stronger start for TK. As they have a great setup here on the main street. Hardpoint Splyce now starting to spawn out further and further away from this hardpoint. That's because Pharaoh, he's pushing up closer to Cole, so that's blocking those topside spawns for Splyce. It's going to be up to Pharaoh. He's got to turn around and now try to find these players from Splyce as they're playing for spawns. He dies. Immediately, Accuracy turns around. Can't win the gunfight against Madcat, but Kenny's here to follow up. Connects with the headshot, but you want to see somebody inside the hill here for TK. This is valuable time to get as you're starting to build a lead. And now with 20 seconds remaining, you start to think ahead as we're about to come up towards the Dox hardpoint where we left off.
And Pharaoh says, Kenny, you go. I'll stay. As Kenny starts his rotation through. There's one player in fire. That's going to be Josh, and Kenny should know he's there, but Josh actually finds himself a double. Whilst all that's going on, of course, Enable does break into the new hill, but the collapse is going to come through. This is a 1v3. So pretty much similar situation to what we had in the first game before, of course, the reset came through. Maybe the lead's a little larger here, but it's Splyce who had the early setup. Never mind, as I say that, just gets completely eradicated.
Okay, but TK, they're able to find some kills. They retake control, and here you go. As all those players get wiped off the map for Splyce, TK are going to surge on forward. They're looking to establish their map control. Look to get somebody set up over near Statue. Try to push on forward over towards the red trains and force Splyce to spawn as far away as possible, but they're just not finding the kills. They had the setup, but Splyce are able to break right on in, and this is a big 30 for Splyce to get. This will bring the game within 20 seconds, but I think they've overextended a bit, Benson. Yeah. Why are all 4 members of Splyce towards the hardpoint right now? Nobody holding the spawns for the next hardpoint, and look at where Josh spawned. That's the oh crap moment Josh just had. He goes, guys, I just spawned out back bricks, and look at the route he has to now take for this upcoming hardpoint. He's asked to go all the way through underground. It's essentially the only play he can make right now.
And it's worst case scenario as well, because Splyce do lose the scrap time there as well. So, you know, for TK, best of both worlds. A good decision came from them to push all the way through that coal side of the map, get control of Red Van, and essentially, you know, maybe a bit more of a misplay from Splyce than a great play from TK in that situation. But as it stands, it is TK with an 88 to 38 point lead. They have full control of barrels here, and it just seems like Splyce don't have a good rhythm almost.
They're not slaying either. Everybody negative on the Splyce lineup. Yeah. You know, obviously slaying isn't everything, but general slaying around the map, that's what's going to allow you to establish control of the hardpoint, establish control of the map, play in the proper positions, and right now you're just not seeing that from Splyce. And we think back to the first hardpoint we saw in the series. It was Splyce. They jumped out to an early 100-point lead. This time it's TK in a commanding position as they're up by around 60 points. With Splyce, they break right on in. They get past Kenny. They're looking to lock down the remaining scrap time, but this time around, Vance is playing safety, right? You see him over towards the back near the upcoming crane hardpoint. They should have those spawns in their favor as we start to look forward in this game.
Need to be careful. They don't feed any streaks over towards TK. The trades come through, so Splyce get control of the scrap time, and they should know TK have spawned behind them. Vance with now a big 1v1 with Accuracy, also manages to win that. Teammate jumps in towards the hill. Fire control is going to be huge here, but Enable runs straight through Jared. Vance there for the trade, however. Can he find the second? No, he can't. Kenny wins the gunfight.
Yeah, so whenever you're spawning at that back bricks warehouse, right, you have to make sure that you're controlling fire. If you give up fire control, that just opens the crossfire for players to just lay down inside and pepper shots into you as you try to push into the hardpoint. And then you're like, even though you have the high ground advantage, you have no cover as you look down in that player inside the hardpoint. So it's a tough engagement to win, as now it's going to be Splyce continuing to fight for topside control. Come around the flank, though. This is going to be Jared, as he could have a big impact here, but This ain't previous CODs, man. It's 2 hits to beat down. It doesn't find the kill there, but 3 kills now come in favor of Splyce.
And that was a prime example of exactly what you were talking about. When you spawn over towards that back burst and you don't have fire control, that crossfire just comes in and it will pepper you from the side. It really causes so many problems. As now Kenny looking to find another pick on the hill. And Splyce with 2 seconds left. There's no point pushing Kenny. I mean, he's a little close to streak, still needs 400 points, but nice shots coming from him. Shuts down Josh, and the lead just seems to be growing and growing here for TK.
Okay, so Enable actually overextends here a bit, right? He pushes down through the main street, but his teammate's not spawning up near the back coal side of the map. Gonna fight through Beer. Looks to control over near the statue stairs as, yep, fresh rotation of hard points here. Splyce with the early control, but TK breaking right on in just like that. 3 go down for Splyce. TK looking to set up and looking to rebuild that lead.
Yep, looking good. Early 30 seconds of statue gone. As it's going to be Enable just sat in the hill, just milking the time here, just giving TK such a favorable lead. And the problem is, Splyce with 20 seconds left, they pushed over towards that lower dock side. It ultimately doesn't really matter too much. 2 of their teammates do still spawn in over towards bus side. And Enable could cause a whole different world of pain there for Splyce. But Splyce win their gunfight, so the rotation is going to come in about 5 seconds. Should be good for Splyce, but here's the key. It's all good and well rotating. We've seen Splyce do that so far in this map. You have to win the initial gunfights. You have to get yourself back into this game, and a 60-second hold here would be perfect.
Right, it's like a 2-step process. Step 1, rotate. Step 2, kill the other team.
Yeah, right.
By the kills. But let's see, TK, the guy obviously have a lot of time to play with here. This is huge time for Splyce to get at this. They're just trying desperately to close the gap. And one thing that I've loved from TK throughout this entire series is there hasn't really been like one standout player. Everybody's been around the same area, just doing their job.
Yeah.
Playing like TK knows how to play. I mean, even look at their slaying right now. They're not outslaying by much. Yeah, they have more kills than Splyce, but they're doing the work where they need to do. They're coming up clutch, and once again, they're doing their job on the map. They're playing their roles to perfection.
Vance gets a little unfortunate there as he's watching through Cole. He ultimately wins a couple of gunfights, says there's no one else here. Little does he know, Pharaoh all the way went for a deep, deep flank. Ultimately forms a pinch and a collapse on the hill for TK. Gives them the final 25 seconds. Now the battle for rotation is on, and, well, guess who's going to be there first? Well, it's going to be Splyce once again. But again, will they be able to hold and get some points back in this game?
I need somebody out there to count how many times Splyce has won the rotation to these hard points and then lost their setup by like the first or second push by TK. It's been a lot. It's been too many.
4.
It's been too many in this.
It's 4 so far. This could be the 5th.
This could be the 5th. TK break right on in, and they just leave the hard point. They just back up over towards trains. It's Jared. He's able to find the clutch 2-piece, but coming in through B-Dom, that's Kenny. So even though they back outside the hard point, they find the kills to re-enter and reestablish their position. And look, we still have a game here. It's only 1 full hard point separating both these teams. Splyce looking to control the last 25 seconds. But what happened last time we were at this Docks Warehouse hard point as all 4 go down? They gave up spawns for free. They cannot do that this time around. And fortunately, TK break in early enough that Splyce won't throw it away. Just
but no, Kenny pushing straight towards barrels, finding 2. He's going to force Splyce to spawn out, and that's just phenomenal instinct from Kenny, if nothing else, recognizing I have to push, I have to force Splyce to spawn out. He earns streaks, he gets the information as well, delays Splyce further push, gives Pharaoh an opportunity and time to push over towards the backside, which what does that mean? Well, it means, guess what? Splyce is going to get slayed out. That was immaculate play from TK's Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely beautifully done from Kenny here as he's starting to surge in this game on an 8 spree. Positive 10, and he's just looking to call in all his streaks. TK could obviously close it out on this very hard point. Fighter pilot comes in, gonna spot Jared as well. Bant spawning up right next to him. All the information gathered for TK, and guess what? Josh walked right by Kenny, coming around the flank, working with Enable to clean up that kill. TK looking to close this one out right here, right now. They had the time to do it. They had the kills on the map. Splyce desperately fighting tooth and nail to stay alive.
Problem is they just can't get close to the hill. You know, something you pointed out in the first 60 seconds. Look at the kills. Look at how badly Splyce was being outslayed. I mean, the kills just coming in all the important parts of the map here for TK. Madcat with a relatively slow game by his standards at 17 and 27, but that'll do it. TK take the series 3-1, and more importantly, get their first win here in Stage 2.
Yeah, it's a strong start for Team Kaliber. We were wondering how Enable was going to fit in with this team, and he looked pretty good. I mean, I didn't see too many things I didn't like from what TK brought to the table here. And talking about Splyce, Josh, obviously the new man, still needs some practice, right? Still need to get some time to acclimate to the team and the play style. But, you know, even though it's a tough loss for the members of Splyce, especially when you think about how that first hardpoint played out, still have a lot of games to look forward to. Don't beat yourself too much up over this series. Try to regain mentally and kind of reset yourselves for more games in stage 1.
I think that's key, right? You can go back, you can watch the VOD, you can assess what went wrong, but ultimately, you know, get back, practice, get as many games under your belt as you possibly can. But from TK, I'm very, very impressed with what we just saw there. That was a convincing London Docks hotpoint. Again, you brought it up. A game mode traditionally at the start of the year, it was TK kind of stayed away from. They banned it. It was their go-to ban. And now all of a sudden, I mean, they're playing Splyce there and making it look simple.
And look, I'll say it. I was worried with how TK were going to perform without Methods on the team. I mean, just look at the stats from Seattle. Right. Methods had a huge impact throughout that entire event. And, you know, obviously swapping in Enable, Enable throughout World War II, he hasn't been able to put up the stats that Methods has brought to the table. So I was wondering how that was going to play out. But things seem to be fine in TK camp. You know, they come out strong and they take their first series.
Yeah. I think Nameless put it best on the desk, you know. Enable doesn't have to fill his shoes. Accuracy will do that for him. But a fantastic second game of the day. Congratulations to TK. It's TK all day here early on with a 3-1 victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We've got 2 series done. We've got a lot more to come. Guys, I'm joined by Chance and Momo. We're going to break down the previous series. So we had TK going up against Splyce, and I'll be honest, just overall, I want to hear your thoughts, but I really like what I saw from Team Kaliber. Chance, what do you think?
Absolutely. I think they were the stronger team. That was the expectation going in. It certainly looked that way. Definitely a shaky start. Obviously a little bit slow, or just Splyce had a hot start, but you go into the search and destroy, TK is just dominant. The CTF has been a problem for TK since November, whatever date the game came out, so not too huge of a surprise there, but other than that, very convincing.
Well, we like what we saw from TK. On the other side of it, Momo, you know, you've got a relationship, a long history with the guys of Splyce. Josh Josh comes in, and I know it's only one series, but obviously didn't look great in that one. They lost, obviously, but thoughts maybe for them?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the addition of Josh, I kind of didn't put my original thoughts on it, on air. I missed that one. But I think Josh coming into the roster, I think this, in a weird way, can improve this team. Now, that will go against the majority of what people think. Tommy has been lights out this whole year. Why was he dropped? And, should he have been the one to go? But I actually think the things that Josh brings to the team can be very beneficial. I think it could take time. But again, TK is a very, very strong roster. Going into this one, I had Splyce to win it. I'll be completely honest. I didn't think it would be a whitewash either way. I thought it might have been in Game 5. But I think Splyce, they may take a couple series to really get in their groove. But you could take the same for TK.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We're going to take a look at the first hardpoint, really the end of the first hardpoint. When I talked to Scraps of Red Reserve on Hot Mic about this Splyce team, his concern was who is going to get the kills. Like, when you need to slay with a team like maybe Kaliber, who is going to step it up? And you can see, at least in this first game chance, from that perspective, Josh struggled a little bit, the new guy.
Yeah, Bance, though, of course, he's the guy that picked up the kills, but then Nabel, kind of his counterpoint. He makes the huge play at the end. He gets that first kill of Bance on that cabin heady, and then he just kind of flies down like that no man's land. And for him to get the 3-piece and the full 4-man wipe, this is huge, because not only does it give TK that huge lead, but the important part is, well, they're going to have to force Splyce to put all of the aggression over towards Cave, which 25 seconds left. If Splyce can get the win on it, that's great. But you're going to see, it just works out perfectly for TK. Kenny has the time to go flank around, and as soon as Splyce gets outside and that 18-second ticks by, now TK's entire focus could be on next. Enable. He's already there. He gets his entire team to spawn there, and it's Splyce at this point. Now they have to go for full rotation, and it can just be impossible to get a break on the second hill, especially when TK has the full setup. So my credit goes out to Enable. That 3-piece he gets to give them the advantage on the Cave Hill makes it so much easier for them to rotate over towards Ruins, and then it's a free win at that.
And we saw in our first series where Red actually broke the Ruins hardpoint very quickly on one, but that's still, even though it was quick, it still took 12 seconds. And you didn't have 12 seconds there to work with. It had to be instantaneous, which you just didn't really have time to get the break. But I do want to hear from you, Momo, like when you come in, and I think it's fair to say with this Splyce roster, maybe there's been some doubt, some question marks maybe behind the team change.
Yeah.
When you come in and have an early lead like that and then throw that first game away, that's got to be a bit painful.
It's really frustrating because, again, Josh is that player who not only, starts very well on that hard point, but we heard him from inside the green room kind of getting hyped, and this was the thing that I was talking about. Josh brings to a team. He'll get Madcat fired up. That original duo that we're talking, 7 years ago has been along this path with. But it all just kind of went downhill. They threw that lead away. Credit to TK for kind of coming back into that one. But I do think Splyce, if they finish that map 1 a little bit stronger.
Goes differently, maybe?
Maybe a little different. I do think, of course, what we'll touch on, TK were dominant on the S&D. But Splyce's respawn, I think, with Josh can be very, very good. May take a couple of series, though.
Well, I think the next clip we're going to look at is from the CTF. But before we get there, I just real fast want to touch on the S&D since you mentioned it. Were there any big takeaways for you, Chance, from the Search and Destroy?
They're just disgustingly good. I think teamwork wasn't even the necessity. You just have guys like Pharaoh who just make those huge individual plays where he just snipes people seemingly in impossible situations, and I think that's the difference maker. TK has 3 incredible S&D players on their team, 3 of the best that we have in World War II. That's how games for them should go. Even if the teamwork, they don't need it. Just the individual plays can put them over the edge. I think they won like 6-3 or something in that capacity, so that's just what should happen. Like, if you're playing against TK, if you win an S&D, you should win the series. Even just one, they're tough.
That's why, this is what we love about this division. We had to, Ben and I had to joke a little bit on trading shots about our, who our top 4 were early, and we're throwing darts at that point. We're just guessing, but TK was one team on the outside looking in. Now I see them play once, I'm like, oh god, like who knows? Like everyone, there's so much talent in this particular division. We're going to see how it breaks down, but let's take a look at the CTF because I believe there's a play you two wanted to highlight a little bit. Chance, let's talk about this play.
It's Madcat. He goes huge. He's left basically in a 1v4, but he's got the one-on-one against Kenny, and I think it's a mistake from Kenny to challenge at the end because if Madcat, if he just gets stalled out, he's going to have to deal with Kenny, who's close, and then 3 TK players that are going to surge. But Madcat makes the huge play, gets the flag out, and then stays alive. He buys his team just enough time to get the swarm back, and now it's the role reversal. Things just flip where Splyce is now putting on all the pressure in the world, and it's going to be accuracy essentially by himself with the flag. And yes, he gets one, but you see the players surging in from every single angle. So that 1v1 that Madcat had against Kenny, I think Kenny just needed to stay alive. He doesn't do that. Madcat gets the win, and then basically wins his team the game. Like, on top of dropping the 1.93 KD, he makes the huge play that gives him the bump in the end, and then I think that second half, like, nothing happens. They just played controlled, so impressive stuff, I guess, for Splyce to bounce back.
Well, quick question I have for you then, Momo. Like, okay, so we've talked a little bit back in the green room that You know, Josh maybe hasn't been the most dominant player so far this year, but you talk about the intangibles. Like, if there was a bumping of heads on Splyce, like, does it work out if all of a sudden Mad Cat, like, statistically is elevated? Bance all of a sudden starts playing better. Like, even if he doesn't come in and isn't some superstar, if it elevates those guys back to the superstar status that we think they can be, that's got to be a win, right?
I mean, that's kind of the broader picture. That's the one where you're looking at it and you think, you know, when Tommy's dropping 45 kills and they're losing series, is, you know, the team just playing incorrectly? You know, is that Tommy individually, or is the team not helping Tommy enough? And I think we're going to see that in the coming weeks. But I do think on those, say, SMG heavy maps, Josh is going to put a lot more pressure alongside Jerd if he needs to. Of course, Bant's going into that flex role, but I do think one thing I do think is Mad Cat is going to go to that solid AR role. You know, we go back to the Black Ops 2 days, and he was the one putting 40 bombs every single map. I think his stats may increase, but it doesn't matter. It's all about, of course, coming out with a victory, and I think we're going to see that in the coming weeks. I know it's kind of a bit of cop-out to say that, but I just...
No, I think that's how we feel about all these teams. Like, yeah, they look great for a match, but who knows? Like, we're going to have to reevaluate all this, you know, a month, 2 months from now when we're at the end of stage 2 and see how things kind of played out.
I don't know, though. I mean, again, Splyce for me, it's a 2 AR meta, and they don't have 2 ARs. Like, even if Mad Cat stats look better than the 2 subs that they have, like, someone is still going to be like that sacrificial lamb. I just think they made a bad roster change. There's no way to shake it up. Yes, we're only 1 series deep. Yes, they could turn things around, but...
Were there a lot of other options, though?
I pick up an American. I don't
think you could with the rules.
No.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I think Bance can be that solid AR, though. I think he can. Like, last year, he can run an AR. He's a very good AR player.
Yeah, who knows anymore? With what's going on with the recent meta change, we've got Joe running an AR on certain maps. All of a sudden, you see Bance with an AR out. Hockey's the main AR. Dave's got a sub in his hand. Like, yeah, these are... I know they're pro players. They can do it all. But so far, at least just through these opening matches, it's like, okay, well, just throw out what we thought about basically everyone's role out the windows. A lot's been shifted. But, guys, I do want to start talking about the next series. So the next series is going to be Evil Geniuses going up